Yeah, man. Interesting. Well, Mob James came back, we did this whole full interview again.
Hmm.
Um, do you remember Mob James around?
I remember hearing about Mob James more than I do seeing him. A lot of people used to want to take me by Mob James' house. You know, man, you gotta go fuck with Mob James. I'm telling you, man, he's straight. He's straight. I'm like, you know, he might be. You know, it's just
He's a blood.
yeah, yeah, he might be, bro. You know, shit. Whatever relationship y'all got, you know, is beautiful, man. But I catch you in traffic.
But what would have happened? You know, because people associate with whoever they associate. But let's just say we take you deep into a blood neighborhood and you come out the car with blue rags on and everything else like that, right in the middle of a blood neighborhood. Would that be awkward?
It would freeze people probably, and then I would expect a lot of shooting to start because you know that's like, you know, I'm coming over here cripped out, and I'm finna go crazy over here because you know that's just unheard of. People don't pull up in nobody's hood with the opposite color on by themselves and just get out the car, not unless they well known, they car is
Like
known,
Snoop can
and
come out anywhere and everyone's like, oh shit, that's Snoop. It don't matter what he's
I
wearing.
don't know about anywhere.
Really?
Yeah, it's some places that really don't take the Crips.
Hmm.
And you know, you get caught in them areas, you gonna get pretty much what you came for.
That's still a thing.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's still a thing. Yeah,
Hmm. Interesting.
yeah.
That's why I never went over to the house. Part of the reason.
Well, I mean, it was like, what are we gonna dialogue about? What's you know what's gonna be our you know what I'm saying, what's gonna be our unifying point? You know what I mean? It's like at that time I was still full speed, you know,
Right.
and from all the reports he was as well. You know, he's always been regarded as pretty much you know a diehard from their side, and you know. I had respect from him respect for him from a distance, just based on the kind of person that I heard he was. You know, I heard he was with the shit as well. You know.
Well, we did a whole interview, and you know, you never know what you're going to end up talking about as you get into these, you know, hour, 2 hour long conversations. And at one point, and I remember how this conversation started. He was saying how he accidentally shot his brother in the face with a 22.
We was just coming out from doing this stupid shit, shooting at people, and come to the house. Him and the kid across the street had two of my pistols, and when I went to put the ones that I had up, I seen they were gone. So automatically I went looking for him, and when I found them across the street, they was playing with the pistols, pointing them at each other, and I took it from Timmy and I said, what if it had a mother... Bah! And I shot him here in the nose. It went down like this and it was in his back teeth, knocked his back teeth out. It was with a 22.
When he said his dad showed up, and when his dad was angry, he was about to like approach him, he said he reached for his gun. And he said he was ready to shoot his dad. And then we get into this whole story about how his dad pretty much beat him on a regular basis from like 7 years old up to about 16. Would come home, high, drunk, whatever, and just beat the shit out of him. You know what I mean? Over and over and over and over and over again. To the point where he just became a very violent, you know, until his dad just couldn't do it anymore, until he started basically, you know, ready to pull out guns on his father.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where, and that's why he thinks that he became such a violent person.
Right.
Because of this violence that he himself, to the point where when his dad died, he said he didn't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was like, whatever.
From 7 to 16, yeah, he had to be desensitized at that point.
You yourself, your father was never around.
Not at all.
Did you have mother's boyfriends in the house or anything else like that? Like,
Yeah, I had a stepfather for
you had a
most
stepfather.
of those years. Yeah.
He ever touch you? I mean, ever beat you? I mean,
Nah. Him and my mother would be fighting and shit, and then my brother would jump in, and my sister would jump in, and it was wild, But as far as him putting hands on any of the kids or something, nah, he never whooped me, none of my sisters, nothing like that.
Okay.
You know.
Did you have friends that were being beaten on like that and became violent like that?
I don't know, man. I don't know people that was going through that in their household.
I guess a lot of people don't talk about that either.
Nah.
Yeah.
I didn't know of anybody that went through that level of abuse in their household.
Well, how do you? I mean, with him is basically, and this is what we talked about. That's where his violent nature came from. I mean, he would go to school and teacher would tell him to put his apple away and he'd break her nose. And then he'd get kicked out. It's like this cycle from an early age of just being violent. Well, where do you think your violence originated from?
Wanting to make sure that I was respected and I could hold my own amongst my circle. And it was just like whatever you guys is willing to do and put in for it, I'm just as willing. So it was just more conviction with me. I'm not really a person that prefers violence, because I know other ways to solve shit and get to solutions without physicality. But at the same time, I didn't know that then. But I was just given to it because that's kind of like what got you recognized at the time. That's what made you stand out and what made your name hold weight. So without that, you just another punk in the city. Ain't nobody paying no attention to. But until you start putting down some demos and, spreading your gangsterness, around your community and outside the community, then that's when your legend begins and gets cemented.
So you wanted to be a legend in the streets?
Yeah.
That was the motivating factor?
Yeah.
And you were willing to hurt other people?
Yeah.
To get to that point?
Whatever. I mean, if our gangs don't get along, then I know at some point you and your boys might catch me somewhere and it might be the end of me. So I'm going to try to get rid of as many of y'all as I can before that day comes. Self-preservation.